I'm getting offended.
TGG. This was the phrase we thought of.
Legal counsel advised us to replace what was supposed to go here.
TGG. It isn't funny until someone gets hurt.
There's bugs in my skin. You're responsible for me. I'm getting offended. I'm a big fat gamer.
TGG. The voices are normal, and you should listen to them.
Hello, hello, everybody. Look at that. We got upgrades. We got a lot to talk about today. It's TGG. I'm your favorite son. This is my co-host, Evan Prince, as always.
It is Friday again.
It's Friday. And you know where we are. We're right here. We're here to talk about everything. We got all sorts of stuff to talk about. We got some upgrades. We got some changes, some new things, swapping around, all kinds of crazy stuff. We also got some news. We got Legacy of Kain news, Legacy of Kain updates. The first
That's right.
thing really that we're hearing about Legacy of Kain, the series, since Embracer has gotten the rights to them. What's up, Origami? Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that in the form of a graphic novel. No, unfortunately, it's not the video game hasn't been announced, but some interesting stuff has come out, so we're going to look at that. We got some other stuff. Konami's posting boomer memes on Twitter. We might talk about. I kind of maybe thought we would talk about the weird, like, I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on with Silent Hill. Everybody's
Talking
getting,
about the G-Man Lives drama.
Yeah, I guess there's drama. I didn't realize it was drama, but maybe we'll get into
It's
that
not.
later. It's not really, but maybe we'll get into that later. But first, as always, how's your week? How you doing? What you been playing? What you been watching? What you been doing?
I think I've had a pretty good week so far. Haven't done much, went to the gym a few times. As for what I've been playing, a lot of you're not a Dragon Ball fan. You don't care anything about Dragon Ball, right?
Not really. I wish I was,
Yeah.
but no.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, or Sparking Neo as it's known in Japan.
Okay.
The biggest Dragon Ball Z game I've ever played. Like, it took me the same amount of time to finish that game that it took me to go through like 2 of the others. It's too big, actually.
Jeez.
But the retrospective for that is exporting right now as we
Oh.
talk. So that'll be going up soon. AF.
Yeah, well,
other
you
than
can tell
that-
you got the premium rig because it's not.
That's right.
It's not messing with your quality at all.
Yeah, thankfully, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this week has been Dragon Balled out for me. What about you? Anything interesting? Anything cool? More Metal Gear? Snake Eater?
More Metal Gear, as always. I've been playing Portable Ops, writing the script. I'm just about done with the script for 3. Been playing some poorly reviewed Steam games. A new game came out today that I was pretty excited for. Anger, or actually it came out yesterday.
Angerfoot. Yeah, I've seen
Angerfoot.
some stuff on that.
Yeah, it was a game I was really jazzed about. It had been in a couple Next Fests. And Sloppy Joe coming in with the 22 months. Whatever, not a big deal. Not a big deal. That's a pretty
Seems like a pretty
big
big deal
me.
to me. Seems like a huge deal to me.
I mean, 22 months makes a man think. But no, this game Angerfoot, it's pretty good so far. I'm into it. It's a boomer shooter. It's kind of like Hotline Miami if it was
Yeah.
like first person,
And you played as a frog.
Yeah, weird ski mask guy. Good controls, smooth, fun. Been really digging my time with it. It's a Devolver Digital game, so it does kind of have the quirky humor in it that isn't particularly my thing, but
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't ruin the game. It's not bad or anything. I'm enjoying it. It's probably going to go in a future indie game video at some point.
Yeah, how did that video do for you? I know you were really excited about doing that video.
Yeah, it did okay. It did fine. It did good enough that I want to do another one. And I had enough people sort of giving me feedback saying that they enjoyed talking about, indie games that I enjoy, that I like, the more positive outlook and things like that. And, had people actually going and trying some of these games, which was good. Even some of the very, like much lesser known games. So I think even if that impact was slight, I think it's still worth it in the end to take some time and continue doing those. And I just enjoy it, getting to most of these games are games I would be playing anyways. I would be trying them out. I would be playing Angerfoot, even if I wasn't going to make another indie games video, just because this looks like a game I'd like, and it's an indie game, so I want to play it and check it out. So, it just it gives me a reason to do it, I guess, and a reason to tell people, try to spread the word a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great idea. I'm glad it did well enough to warrant a follow up.
It's no worst. I played worst reviewed Steam games, that's for sure. It did do what I was expecting, which is that it did much worse than that series, because that series is,
It's hard to shine light on things in a positive way.
Yeah. I mean, there's always, people. It's always more interesting to watch. I'd rather watch a video about like bad movies or something than good movies. That's fun. That's funner.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So I get it. But other than that, I actually I watched a movie. I watched 2 movies this week. I've been trying to force myself to take some more time and watch some more movies and stuff. And I revisited Reservoir Dogs this week.
Okay. Yeah, I know we talked about that on a past episode.
Yeah, I think with Mr. Hammers, we talked about our favorite Tarantino movies, and I stumbled across it, and I was like, you know what? Is this my favorite? I need to rewatch it. I need to see, is this my favorite? So I watched it, and I can confirm
It's your favorite?
Reservoir Dogs is my favorite Quentin Tarantino film.
All right, well.
Great job,
it's a good thing-
Tarantino. Good job on that.
Good thing we had that conversation with
20-year-old. No, it was really good though. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in a while, so it was nice. And then last night I watched a new movie came out yesterday on streaming, straight to streaming. A new Tyler Perry film.
Let's
And
go.
You know my affinity for Tyler Perry movies. So I watched that, and the man outdid himself. This
In a
was
good way?
the worst film I have ever seen by him, I think. It was so bad. Pretty funny for the most part, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty rough. The opening scene, just to take a quick tangent. I promise we'll talk about some other stuff after this, but
Yeah.
a quick tangent was the first scene is in a church. It's the funeral of a son, right? And the family's there. The main character is, her dad is the preacher. She's married to the brother of the guy that got killed, and their family's there, right? Their family gets upset because the preacher doesn't like them and paid for the funeral and all that stuff. So the lady orders her sons to take the body out of there. They're like, "Get your brother. We're getting out of here." So they grab the casket and they start leaving, and she's like, "No, not the casket. They paid for the casket. We're not going to have them." So they pull his fucking body, his lifeless body, out of the casket, and then they throw him in the back of a truck bed and drive off.
Jeez. Was it funny to watch that though?
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it was pretty funny. It got pretty insane at a few points, so it was a good watch.
Oh, that wasn't the insane part.
I mean, I think it peaked right at the beginning. Like it was one of those things where it's like, holy shit, we're going
It's not getting any better from here.
right out the gate. Yeah, but there was some good moments.
Oh no.
Before we move on, we're going to talk about Legacy of Kain, as the title of the video suggests.
The very not clickbait title.
The very not clickbait title.
It's literally just an accurate question with an answer.
I don't think it's very clickbaity. I mean, we're just saying this is our discussion. Our main discussion point that we want to talk about is Legacy of Kain back. We're going to talk about the news and then say, have a discussion about, is this the return of the series, or are we going to be waiting for a long time?
Right.
But regardless, before we get to that, make sure to like the stream. It helps us out. It pushes us out there to more people, more eyes. And as always, thank you for joining us. Is anything happening with the franchise? We're going to talk about that right now. Let's get into it. So I think a few days ago, this news came out about a canonical prequel graphic novel starring Raziel himself. If you look at the thumbnail, the cover art for that graphic novel is there. I'm going to find it. It is called The Dead Shall Rise. And it is it's canonical. It's a prequel set in this universe. And it's gonna be the story. They are reviving the story again, and it's being published by BitBot Media, the first in a series of Legacy of Kain releases. Whoa, I gotta install ad block or something on this this Microsoft Edge. But yeah, it's by Crystal Dynamics' word, it is a canonical part of the franchise. Will contain never-before-seen ideas and elements from unreleased Soul Reaver lore. And I don't usually get hyped about graphic novel like stuff, like tie-in comic book stuff. I said this on Twitter, but I don't usually get hyped about this stuff. But I honestly think this is the perfect way to go about getting back into this universe, you know, is releasing something like this that later you could just sort of, you could retcon it later if you want to. If people don't like it, if you mess it up, you could go back on it and you could get it out of there. But if not, you have a valid way to build the world and introduce new characters that might star in or appear in these new games that we might be getting.
Yeah, and the fact is, whenever things like this start happening, like little related releases, it is an opportunity for fans of a franchise to vocalize support for more product releases. It's very
Correct.
very fundamental capitalism. If someone releases a product and it performs well, the distributor 8 times out of 10 is going to say release more of that product.
Yes.
You know, make another book, make a game, something. So with even if something is small, like if it was between never get a game or let's give you a graphic novel and if you like it, then maybe we'll give you a game. This is probably the best scenario. So if you're a big fan of Legacy of Kain, this is a really good opportunity for fans to purchase the graphic novel so that the rights holders, the people who own the rights to the IP, can see that and say, there's money here.
Yes.
There is money on the Legacy of Kain name. And then you might get a game.
Yeah, I think, yeah, because it's also, while it is a good way to kickstart getting back into an older franchise, it's also a really good way to gauge interest and just say, okay, are people actually interested in this thing? Is it a diehard fan base that's going to go out and buy comics? Or is it, you know, just sort of meme status, quick virality being pushed back into the public eye? And I think that's cool, and I'm definitely going to be buying this. I don't get into very much stuff like this, but I mean, this series has been gone for so long. It's been dead for so long. I want this series to come back. I think, you know, and I have a personal connection to this series. This series like kickstarted my YouTube channel basically. I want to see this series come back. I love these games. I love this world, and that's always something that I've been really interested in. Was the world, the lore, the characters and stuff. So and just those games had a very unique, like, I don't want to say world, but just a very unique, like, build around the way that things worked and the systems involved. It wasn't anything you had ever really seen before. Obviously, it was a new take on something old, but it was really interesting. So I think a graphic novel in this universe is right up my alley.
Something pretty cool to think about with this graphic novel is, so your Legacy of Kain video, your retrospective, has like 3.3 million views, you know? And if you search just the words Legacy of Kain on YouTube, your video is the first thing that comes up by and large. So have you thought about the fact that there is a very real likelihood that the author of this graphic novel has watched your video?
I actually didn't think about that right now. I don't know. I mean, maybe they have. I guess. I mean, if they didn't know anything about it, they were like, "Yeah, I'll look up some YouTube video to check it out." Maybe that's possible. That would be very cool.
If I was an author, even if I had played the games, you know, I would still be looking up stuff on YouTube just to refresh myself on things. I'd be like, "Oh, dude,
that's
here's
true.
a whole video of all the lore just as a refresher while I'm outlining this." You know,
that's
so
true.
there is a very real possibility that the guy who is writing this has listened to your video.
That's a good point. If they have, then thank you for watching. I hope
shout him out on X.
I hope all the information was accurate, because that video is so old at this point. I can't be certain. But Huber Tuber says, I mean, I can't really be too mad. I'd love to see this world come back in any way. Also, did the games ever go into Raziel before turning? I don't remember, as it's been a very long time. I think there was a comic book that I don't think is canonical. I would have to go back and look, but I think it goes into Raziel's turn, actually, and like how he got turned into a vampire. And it was very short and kind of weird. And I think it has him in that as a human. in his human form. So you can check that out, but I don't think it is canonical. I think maybe they retconned it or they went back on it or something. But this will be our most like current canon. This will be definitive, good or bad. Oh, this is the whole art, by the way. The art's fucking fantastic, by the way. Like this looks great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at Raziel.
The guy who did that art is named Dave Raposa, and he does art for all kinds of like different video games just on his own. He did one of the coolest Castlevania posters I've ever seen. So seeing him do this, he really killed it. One of the best artists I've seen.
Yeah. This cover is great. Also, just to see the fucking Soul Reaver, like in the font on just like on a thing that you can buy is crazy, man. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. It is cool, and part of me wants to be when looking at this reasonably, asking the question, the discussion point that we've obviously brought up, is Legacy of Kain back? Does this signify a return for the series? And I think if I look at it reasonably, I don't see why they would make, because in the end, a graphic novel on a very old series isn't going to be incredibly profitable. Like, even if fans come out and buy it, like it's not going to be breaking shelves or anything. So the only reason I can see this existing is to either signify, hey, we're coming out with something's coming, or to gauge interest in something coming out. I don't see them just being like, oh yeah, we have no plans for a game. We just wanted to make this graphic novel because we own the property now, and this was our way to, get returns on that. That doesn't seem accurate.
Who owns the IP?
Embracer. Crystal Dynamics, okay. And Embracer owns Crystal Dynamics.
Well, it's interesting because I wonder, like, I don't know how much of the profit they're actually going to see, because they have licensed the IP to Bitbot Media to do, which, that is its own independent like art firm.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I've been following for a while.
Yes, and you have a stake in this as well, because Bitbot Media is owned by Cell Dweller. Is that?
Yeah, his name is Clayton Scott, but okay. he is more known as Cell Dweller. Most people have heard his music, even if they don't know it, because he has done all kinds of music that's ended up in advertisements and trailers and stuff like that. Like, his music was in a Spider-Man 2002 trailer a long time ago, and he's been in a lot of movie trailers. And you never played the Dead Rising games, but his songs are in a couple of the Dead Rising games. He actually wrote the theme song for Dead Rising 2, like the main theme.
Okay.
So he's always been pretty in and out of the video gaming industry. He composed several of the tracks for Killer Instinct. You know that game?
Yes.
The new one they did, the Seasons. He did a lot of the music for that. And I've just been a fan of his music in general for well over a decade. He owns the company that's doing it, and my understanding is he is like doing consulting on it, but the person writing it is, I believe it's Joshua Viola, who also penned the novel set in Cell Dweller's like own universe that he composes for his album. So several of his albums are all set in like a fictional universe. And then Joshua Viola wrote a novel called Black Star, which like basically told the story of his album Wish Upon a Black Star. It's a cool novel. I owned it. It's really interesting, but it was kind of like a double take for me to see Legacy of Kain and then see Cell Dweller also involved. I'm like, what's going on? What is this?
Yeah,
I don't know that they've ever done anything like this before. As far as I know, everything they've done has been their own private IPs.
Okay.
So this is the first time I've seen them do something pre-existing that they don't already work on.
Licensed stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen them do that before.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's cool. I mean, maybe they're fans. Who knows?
Could be. They may have gone out of their way to like try to make this happen. That is a possibility.
Yeah. It signifies at the very least interest, or as a way to gauge interest, which they have done before. No. Yes, they have. I think it was a year or 2 or 3 years ago. God, who knows how long it's been now. But they released a fan survey. I think it was shortly after they got bought by Embracer. Crystal Dynamics launched a fan survey gauging interest on the Legacy of Kain series, seeing what people would like. A lot of it, if I remember correctly, dealt with, would you like a remake? Would you like a sequel, a reboot, a continuation of the existing story, or a new story, all that stuff. It seemed like, from my perspective, they weren't sure how to approach going forward, because I've heard a lot of people talk about, I just want a straight up sequel to Defiance. I want to see how that story ends, or continues on. And some people just say reboot the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of, so it seemed like they were trying to figure that out with that survey. As a Legacy of Kain fan, not holding my breath on the series getting a resurgence, even a graphic novel might not be enough to spark new interest, as it's been 21 years. Hey, I mean, at the very least, it lets you know they're thinking about it. They're thinking about the series. The series is on their minds. That's at least, at the very least, what this tells me. And that's good news in my mind. And if we're hearing the name Legacy of Kain in official press releases, that's saying it's not dead. You know, that's telling me there's still a spark of life there. Whether that spark is incredibly small or it's a burning fire, we won't really know. But it's there. And that's, I mean, there's not a lot of series that I'm this passionate about, that I care this much about. And like, when there's an idea of new life being brought back into them, that's a good time for me. Also, there was a Legacy of Kain Defiance comic that seems to be canon, since Defiance is much later in the series. You know what? I forgot about that one. I entirely forgot about the Defiance comic. You're right. Brand being kept alive is a completely viable option business-wise, for sure. Yeah, so there is a brief story thing here that says, The Dead Shall Rise's story explores Soul Reaver protagonist Raziel's past when he was still a human warrior, leading up to his transformation into Kain's vampire lieutenant. The graphic novel also promises to introduce new characters, including a vampire with connections to both Raziel and Kain. And this sentence is important here and sort of ties back to what I was talking about before, which is introducing new characters. That's what I think the best thing about this is, from a story perspective, is say they decide to continue the story. Say they decide to make a spinoff, say they decide to make a sequel, whatever. Introducing new characters retroactively in the past is a good way to say, hey, this is how they tie back into the story. And then you don't just have these random new characters that are out of place. They can already interact with our established characters as if they knew them. And that makes it feel a little bit more real, I guess, genuine, and smooth of a transition, rather than just, oh, this is just a guy we met and now he's on our team, dog, you know? Yeah.
And there are, there's two other factors. One of which is, if this graphic novel does just good for a graphic novel, there's also probability of BitBot just doing another one.
Yes.
Just doing a second and then maybe a third, like a trilogy of graphic novels, which it's not a new game, but it's still cool, like, to get multiple graphic novels in the Legacy of Kain universe. And the other thing is, and this is a bit more unique to the people that are doing this, is that every project that Joshua Viola has, okay, except for his first one, I don't think he did it for his first novel, but the other stuff, Cell Dweller tends to like make a song, or sometimes even like an EP or an album that goes with that book.
Oh,
you know,
shit.
so with the Black Star book, so first came the album, which is called Wish Upon a Black Star, which
This
is just
is like
a
some
normal album.
Coheed and Cambria stuff.
Yeah, exactly, actually. So first came the album, which is just a regular, it's like an album of like rock industrial music. But then came the book based on the album called Black Star. But then there was a different EP of just instrumental, like, drone ambience music that you could listen to while you read the book, written by the same guy who made the original album.
Okay.
So and the guy who did that, named Cell Dweller, has over 680,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Holy shit.
So yeah, so he's big. Most of his songs have millions, like Shapeshifter has almost 30 million streams on Spotify.
Okay.
Right. So if he does just one song that ties into the graphic novel, I don't know that he's going to do this, but if he did and he released it under his Cell Dweller brand, which he has three other brands that he could release it under. But if he released a song that ties into that graphic novel, that immediately opens the door to a bunch of new people who are going to be like, this is a cool song. What's it for? There's a graphic novel. And then maybe they end up learning more about Legacy of Kain.
That is true.
There are avenues.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. But that's a massive new audience. Doc in the chat says, a Legacy of Kain graphic novel possibly meant to gauge interest for a new game seems more cost effective than something big like a live action TV series, parentheses,
especially
Twisted
since
Metal.
This will actually probably be good.
Yes. And that's, I think, that is a really good point because, hey, maybe they do have plan. Because my best idea for them was always, my best idea was always make a animated series, Netflix, whatever the fuck, that goes through the story of Blood Omen, Soul Reaver, Defiance, all that stuff, that goes through that story in a few seasons, and give people access to that if you want to do a sequel. Because then this is a new thing that's very accessible, that people can watch to be caught up on the story. Obviously, don't make a game where everybody's just alienated that doesn't know the original story. You don't have to watch it, but if you want to, you don't have to go back and play these games. You can watch this animated series. And I personally think that that story would go fantastic with an animated series. But you're right. If that's the plan, if that's something they want to do or something they want to pursue or movies or whatever, then, throwing a graphic novel out there and being like, hey, how does this do? Is this gonna tank completely? Is nobody buying this? Or are some people checking this out? Then maybe that's like, okay, now we go a little bit further. Now maybe we do a remaster. Now maybe we do a port.
Speaking of, how realistically what if this is a prequel, right? What if this is just a prequel so they can announce a re-release or a remaster or maybe even a remake of the original?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe that is the new game.
That's enough. Yeah.
And
that's
this is
completely
laying groundwork.
Yeah. There's that too. What if this is, it is a poke to me. It's clearly a poke to the audience and to future audiences to say, hey, do you want something? Are we going in the right direction? And honestly, I think that's good news. That signifies to me like something's happening. We don't know what it is. Obviously, we can't really know, but it's good news to me. Bro, animated series would be so sick. Yeah, I've always said that. I think an animated Legacy of Kain series would be awesome. I love the idea of an animated series, but people's ignorance will start calling it a ripoff of the Castlevania series. I think Castlevania kind of paved the way for a lot of, if it's good or not, I think that series' success kind of paved the way for a lot of other games to be able to do that, because that was a very successful series.
There's you're talking specifically about the animated series or about the games? The animated series,
the animated series. No, I was saying the success of that animated series kind of opened doors a little bit for other people to be able to do the same thing. It's not as hard to sell the idea of let's make an animated series about this game anymore.
Yeah, we're getting a second Devil May Cry anime, which is almost assuredly going to be worse than the original.
Well, let's just hope Adi Shankar isn't heading it,
He is, though. I'm pretty sure.
No, I mean Legacy of Kain. He can touch Devil May. Yeah. Listen, I like Devil May Cry quite a bit, but I can ignore a bad Devil May Cry animated series. I don't think I could ignore an Adi Shankar Legacy of Kain series. I would be greatly, if we get another video of him in his fucking retro man cave booting up Soul Reaver.
That was so bad.
I'll be tearing heads for sure.
Dude, the worst part about we don't have to talk about Castlevania, but the worst part about the Netflix series wasn't even him. It was fucking, who was it Warren Ellis. It was the guy who wrote the first 4 seasons. Warren Ellis just fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Although the guy they got to write season 5 was even worse. So what do I know?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think just to sum all this stuff up though, I think that this is good news for Legacy of Kain fans. And that's people were saying clickbait or whatever. You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want.
Go fuck yourself.
But but no, in all seriousness, I do think this is a step in the right direction. I think this is good news. When you start getting things like this, it means they want to use this IP and they're figuring out ways to do it. And I don't think that this happens and then we get 5-10 years of nothing. I think this happens and then, in the next few years, we get some sort of announcement, whether it's a game, whether it's an animated series, whether it's more graphic novels, expanding the universe, whatever. It's something. Something's going to be coming. And I think that's good news. An animated series would make sense if you look at Castlevania and Arcane, but it's a bit more niche IP by comparison, and with streaming platforms getting a worse reputation day by day. That's true. That's a good point. I don't think it's the right move. I'm saying as a gluttonous fan, I want to see that. So any way you make it happen, make it happen. But I don't think, I don't know. You never know, though. I feel like that's a thing, I feel like that's a thing dads would watch, They'd see a fantasy Western animated series on the front page of Netflix, and they'd be like, I'll check that out,
Could do an animated movie, too. It could do like a 45-minute animated movie. It doesn't have to be a series,
Yeah, do one for each game. There's enough there to do that. I'm late. What's going on with LK? We're talking about the recent announcement about the graphic novel. For anybody who just joined, The Legacy of Kain.
It's a prequel.
Yes, prequel graphic novel. The Dead Shall Rise, Soul Reaver. This is the first Legacy of Kain thing we've gotten since Nosgoth, I guess. So years and years of nothing, and this is the first thing that we're seeing. So very, very, very exciting news. I think we can switch topics now. I've made you sit and listen to me ramble about Legacy of Kain for far too long. I'm only saying that because you said you haven't played any of those games, have you?
I could not know less about Legacy. The only way I could know less about Legacy of Kain that is to go back in time to before we started this podcast, just now.
Yes. Now you know.
I know so little about Legacy of Kain, which is funny because I've had like 5 or 6 people ask me to talk about Legacy of Kain, and I had to tell them, I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Dude, it's a really good series. It is really cool. I mean, obviously I have...
It looks cool. Looks like something I would like.
Yeah, you would like it. I would urge you to at some point when you get some free time, play Soul Reaver or something. Throw Soul Reaver on a PS1 emulator. You'll have a good time. It's definitely got that style too that you like.
Yeah.
That 2000s style.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Yeah, your Legacy of Kain video even is one of the ones I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that video, while we're talking
That's
about
the
it,
one.
that video sucks. That video is terrible. If you go back and watch it, I mean, I had title cards because I didn't do title cards for a while. Now I'm starting to do them again now that I actually want to like get back into design stuff and everything. But back then I would just it was a clip of the game and it was just text over the top. And the music was so jacked up on that compared to my voice from the end of the chapter. I'd be like, duh, 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 and then it would just boom, blasting music, destroying your ears. Crazy.
Incredible.
So many problems with that video, but you can't go back. It's there. It's out there. Your LOK video is how I discovered your channel. Yeah, and I'm grateful that video did so. If that video never did well, I would never be where I am today, and I wouldn't be doing this for a living. So I'm extremely grateful people love that video, and I'm grateful that the video, like the writing and the stuff, and it was entertaining enough to keep people without it, like everything else around it being good, Like that says something when people are like, yeah, even though this video is like produced like shit, I'll still watch it because
the quality was still there in the content. The
Yes.
content was still high quality, so
Yeah.
the production could afford. Has continued to get better.
Yes.
I think it's. I mean, I've had similar experiences. I watched a little bit of the first video on my current channel, my Metal Gear Solid retrospective,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like whispering in it for some reason. I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
You're like trying not to wake mom and dad up.
Or something like that. I was like,
Yeah.
why am I talking so quiet in this video?
Should we? Okay. I put on my list of stuff to talk about. I put the Konami. You know what I'm talking about with the Konami boomer meme thing, right?
No.
You don't? Okay, you haven't seen this. Okay. I tweeted
I
about
may have
this.
seen it.
You might have seen it.
I think, yeah,
Here, I'll
remind
pull it.
me.
So, Konami posted this.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That was, yeah, because I commented on that, dude.
Yeah. So Konami posted this. That was a great, perfectly timed silence. Konami posted this. Me Mondays. Great job. I mean, doing wonderful work. But I wanted to talk about this because I tweeted about this and I was like, this is stupid. And then so I saw other people tweeting like, oh, it's just a meme, doesn't matter, blah, 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 whatever. People so quick to defend anything Konami does. I hate this shit. I don't know if you have this experience too, but this started, I think, with the Wendy's thing, like the Wendy's Twitter account shit, and these company Twitter accounts having this like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? Like thing and becoming like a person, and I just hate it, man. It's so dystopian.
It's pretty awful.
It's gross. And this is like the word, like the font choices and like the the most like basic meme you could ever make, and just like
with some companies, I get it, because what the fuck are you supposed to talk about?
Yeah.
Why would anyone the only reason a lot of these accounts have any followers is because they do things that are relatable or interesting. So I understand it, because like, what are you supposed to post? Yeah, we have new deals on our burgers. You know what I mean? But with Konami, you have a backlog of iconic games you could be posting shit about every day. You have enough material to post something every day about a different niche and be like, here's a video from this game, Konami game. What did you think of this? Here's one of our favorite characters, and then a little lore tidbit about something. It's just, they hire somebody who couldn't give a fuck less about any of the games, and then they just post this.
Yeah, and it's just it's a facet of like your role as a social media marketer now. It has to be that like, this is the role. This is in the role. This is in your job description. You have to post funny memes that people are going to engage with, and you have to sassily reply to comments, and ratio people, because that's going to get us viral, because we've seen other companies do that and that works. So you got to do it. And it's just, it's obvious. It's the most obvious. Like this is a cold take. We're going up against corporations right now. We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything crazy. It's, we're not breaking news. We're talking bullshit, but it's annoying. I hate it. I just can't stand it. It's so dumb. And this isn't even a good application of it. This is like the worst application of it, where it comes out and everybody's like, this is stupid. I'll confirm from Eastern Europe, every company has some 50-something marketing, whatever, trying to meme online. Yeah, and that's the thing too. The person that did this was a genius. Whoever was behind I think the Wendy's account was the first one to do it. I'm just gonna say they are.
Definitely one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, but whoever did that was a genius and probably got promoted in the company because they gave them so much free marketing or whatever. But like, man, everybody that follows after is literally, you're probably right, just a 50-year-old dude that like is like, they're like, hey, you got to do this because it worked for Burger King, so can you figure that out? And they're like, I don't know, I don't look at memes, I look at memes on Facebook, is that what you want me to make? And they're like, yeah, just make that. And he's like, okay, Well, he's got a bat, and I don't like Mondays.
He probably made this on a Monday.
He went into work and he was like, ugh. Or it would be even funnier if this wasn't that. This was just the Konami marketing guy went rogue, and he was like, he was just like, man, this is a bad day. It's
Probably
a
just
bad
AI.
Monday.
Somebody probably just fucking threw that picture in an AI and said, "Write me a relatable meme."
That's
And just
true. That's
threw
true.
that font on there and spat it back out.
Dystopia. I need a dystopian sound effect on the board.
Blade Runner. You can't use Blade Runner music.
Can't use Blade Runner music. That'll get us strucken.
Just get the sound bit of Johnny Silverhand being like, "It's a war against the forces of entropy."
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'll put that on there.
David Goggins! Jocko Willink!
Jocko Willink. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It just annoyed me. And I guess while we're talking about Silent Hill 2, do you want to talk about the controversy?
Oh yeah, dude, that controversy is a perfect fucking example of, I think, like there's a weird sensation that happens on Twitter where if you make a statement, the person reading it, the brain of the person reading it amplifies its intensity by like times 10.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That is it
So
is a very valid. Here, let me pull this up and then we'll talk about it. So I
Yeah.
think this was the tweet. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put no shit on G-Man's name,
I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yeah.
but I don't think he's gonna care that he's getting in a controversy on Twitter because he does it all the time. But
Yeah, he loves it.
yeah, but I think this was the tweet that sparked the drama. But it was, him saying, so the original thing was about that Konami UK had posted that a video of a cutscene with the dog head on that you can get as like a DLC thing or a pre-order bonus. And G-Man had said it's actually kind of painful to think that there will be people experiencing Silent Hill 2 for the first time wearing this nonsense. Personally, I mean, it's a good point, It's a good point. Do I think everybody's going to do this? Probably not, but it is a good point that this kind of like goofy thing being available on first playthrough is...
And people who pay extra for it will wear it just because they paid extra for it.
Exactly. It's a pre-order bonus. I'm special. I got the special thing. I got to put it on. So it is going to lessen the experience a little bit. It's kind of weird to think that there are going to be people out there that are like, oh, I'm going to check out this Silent Hill 2 game. And they're like, oh, I got this cool dog head I'm going to put on. And then they put it on and they're playing the game with James having a fucking dog head on, Like, I think that's a good point. But this whole thing kind of spiraled, and now people have been warring, I guess. I haven't really been involved in it. I just see people talking about it, like secondary, And this guy commented and said, purity test in video game fandom will always reach an end game like this, which is that they're getting upset about the silly elements Silent Hill is known for. They have a made up version of Silent Hill in their head that doesn't exist just to be elitist about it.
I think that statement is incredible because that statement is like in and of itself a meta version of what he's talking about. Because what he has done is he is responding to a made up version of G-Man's statement, in my opinion.
That's true. That's a good point.
What G-Man is saying is he's like, hey, it's a shame some people are going to experience this game with this silly nonsense on for the first time because it will take away from the impact.
Yeah.
But this person has taken that and altered it into this. Silent Hill was never silly. Silent Hill had no silly elements. So it's funny that he's saying, a version of Silent Hill that doesn't exist when I feel like he is responding to a statement that doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's a good point. Because I mean, that you're right. That everybody took this tweet as saying, because other people have commented on this as well. It's not just
that's all of the responses, by the way. Anytime I saw G-Man responding to someone, it was someone saying something that G-Man didn't say, and G-Man saying, I didn't say that, I said this.
Well, it was everybody saying there are silly elements in Silent Hill 2 because you can unlock this costume or you can get this at the end. And that's true, but like the point of the tweet was about this being available on first playthrough.
Yeah,
Those-
first time experiences.
Yeah, if you boot
Yeah,
up
so
a fresh
seeing
save
James
of-
suffocate Mary with a pillow but wearing a mirror head will kind of, if you've
Dude,
never
that's
seen it
actually
before,
gonna be insane. If every cutscene allows you, if this is real, if every cutscene allows you to wear this, and that's insane.
but I mean, even if it's not right then, even if it's not the suffocating scene, but him putting the VHS scene in, you know what I mean? Like, if you've never played it before and it's James with a dog head on suffocating his wife with a pillow, I can. That's a little bit of a strange, decision for your game,
Yeah, it's certainly odd to give people the ability to do that, and it's this argument. I think it gets into muddy water a little bit, because now we have to argue about you're giving people the option to wear the costume on the first time they play the game. So that's freedom of player freedom, right? Allowing the player to do whatever they want by buying these items or getting these pre-order items and then wearing them. Do we restrict player freedom because we know it would be a better or closer to the intended experience? Do we restrict? Is this a situation of like, you don't know what's best for you in this case because you've never played the game and you don't understand that this won't be the intended experience if you do this?
My answer to that is, if it's a remake, then yes, because the original developers restricted the silly stuff until after you'd beaten the game for a reason. And if you choose not to do that because you want to expand on player freedom, then you are admitting to everyone that we are departing from the original intention of the developers.
That's a good point. I want to shout out Gabriel Martinez with the 5. I appreciate it. The alert will come up in like 2 hours or something because it takes forever.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out how to fix that. Listen, you got to go with it. You just got to go with it. Get better as you go on. If you think about it, a horror take on LOK would be perfect. Legacy of Kain, similar to the RE engine.
Need me a Juve Bull Legacy of Kain.
There it is. That is a interesting idea for sure. It would be difficult, and you would have to do it almost perfectly to get it to work. But it's an interesting idea. I see what you're going for. I like that. I like that kind of thinking. It's thinking outside of the box, and we always applaud that here. I mean, yeah, it's a good point. It is a remake, so I think being as close to the intended experience is probably best. And I think, letting the players ruin it for themselves is probably not a good idea. It's probably, why introduce that? Why not just make it an end of game unlock? I don't understand what the controversy is with that. I don't understand why there's controversy in saying, hey, why don't we just make this an unlock like the other games had, where you have to play the game and beat it to unlock it, and then you're allowed.
Because if you look at the original response, which is what I was saying, is that they were responding to like a made-up version of the statement.
Yeah,
all of the argument is about whether or not Silent Hill has had silly elements in the past. No one's talking about whether or not this should be available at the start or end of the game. Everyone's saying, look, Silent Hill had these silly things, and you're an elitist gatekeeper.
Yeah.
That's the whole conversation, and all of the G-Man responses that I've seen are him saying yes, but those were available after you beat it.
Yeah,
that's all I've seen every time. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think he's wrong. I don't think it's a bad statement to make. It is a weird thing that we're living in, and he says it's kind of painful to think that there will be people experiencing Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, and that was like his own like opinion. He wasn't like making a definitive statement about how fuck Konami for doing this.
Yeah.
People like.
I agree. It is bad. I don't like thinking that because my whole thing has always been with the Silent Hill 2 remake. My whole thing has always been, this is going to be a lot of people's first experience actually playing Silent Hill 2. There are people out there, since the announcement has happened, and now, that have seen videos on Silent Hill 2 and said, you know what, I want to play this game. And then they've realized, oh wait, there's a remake coming out. I'll just wait until the remake comes out. That's happened a lot. You have to be okay with that. There's people that even before the remake got announced that have said, it's too dated. I don't feel like setting it up. I don't feel like getting a PS2, whatever, that haven't played it. There's a ton of people that this is going to be their first time playing Silent Hill 2. And you have the responsibility to make that first experience what the original developers intended. And I don't think that running around with a dog, maybe Masahiro Ito will tweet at me and yell at me and say I'm wrong, but
dude, he yells at everybody.
I know.
He yells at everybody and blocks everybody.
Yeah, he's a wacky man on Twitter. There's no way Legacy of Kain is coming back. What writer is talented enough to write at that level? Soul Reaver was a masterpiece. Well, listen, we got a graphic novel announcement.
Joshua Viola, maybe.
Joshua Viola, our boy,
Onward!
might be talented enough to continue on this series. Get it?
Is there a release date on that novel?
No release date yet.
Oh, damn.
Just the cover art announced, so we don't know when it's coming out. But in my experience, comic book release date announcements tend to be pretty close to when the thing's actually coming out.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm gassy tonight. Alan Wake 2 did cosmetics very well. You get a red jacket and a gun skin. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Like subtlety is important. And a cosmetic allowing, having a blue jacket on, I don't think anybody would have a problem with if James had a blue jacket, if he could wear corduroys instead of jeans. Like, I don't think anybody's going to care. Obviously, Silent Hill can be silly, and that is an aspect of it. And it's good to have these crazy, wacky things in it. But I don't think that allowing players to use them from the get-go on a fresh save is the best option. You don't know what's good for you. I do.
Well, it's not even... I feel like that's a weird way to frame it because, like... I mean, if you were writing a book, you would write it in the order that you want the person to read it most of the time. It's not even that you don't know what's best for you. It's more like, this is the story that I'm trying to tell you, and I've put in some silly elements for you to have fun with on later playthroughs. But if I put that up front at the beginning, I think that it will detract from what I want you to get out of this product, out of the story that I'm telling.
Mm-hmm.
And for the remake to come in and say, fuck that idea, we think it'll be better if we just let people choose to experience the story in a silly way up front. It's not that you're trying to restrict the player, it's that you're trying to create the best experience, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the restricting the player thing is a funny way of putting it.
That is a framing.
I don't mind defending that point. I don't mind defending restricting that. You have to restrict the player in some ways. You restrict the player when you only give them access to certain game mechanics right from the get-go and slowly introduce those game mechanics because you know that they can't handle it all at once. It's too overwhelming, and it's better if it's pieced out over the course of the first hour of the game. And
it's more rewarding to earn it.
Yes. Yeah. You restrict the player in that way. There's a lot of restriction that has to go on when it comes to games, and I think that's fine.
I feel like experience optimization and player restriction a lot of times get conflated.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's a bad way to put it for sure. I don't mind putting it that way
because so
I'm tuned
an
up.
instance,
I'm ready to go.
Starfield.
Oh shit, wrong one.
Daily targets.
That's the
Joshua
wrong
Willis.
one. There we go.
Starfield.
I got two pages I got to flip back and forth through. I'm just getting used to this setup, man.
You got to get one of those the things where you can press different buttons, and have you seen this?
What is it?
It's like a little piece of equipment that has like a string of buttons that you can map your different soundboards to.
That's what I have. I have buttons, but there's only 6, and there's different pages. You swap pages.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this, it's all right. We'll get these. Most gamers today just aren't used to waiting to have their character looking a certain way or having access to certain features until after the end of the game, and it's sad. That's a good point. That is something that's definitely been lost as games have gone on, like unlockables in single player games and stuff. Even 5-10 years ago, it was very common to see an Arkham style enemy trophy menu where you could look at all the bosses that you fought in. What am I doing? Fought. But you could look at all the enemies that you've encountered or the bosses that you've encountered and see their trophies, character models, spin them around and stuff. You know, unlockables for customization, aesthetics, whatever. A lot of that stuff's kind of gone away in single player games.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot too. I mean, hell, yesterday I was finishing up like my footage acquisition for Budokai Tenkaichi 2 as I was editing, and even that old Dragon Ball Z game has a menu where you can go look at all of the individual models for all of the characters, of which there are like over 100. And you can like look and turn and play with the models.
I always liked that stuff. I loved it. I even remember being a kid playing Kingdom Hearts, and there was like a sort of bestiary in that game as well, where you would go down through and you could look at all the enemies and see their little play with their little character models. And I always thought that stuff was so cool. And when I play older games now and I see it, I'm like, man, that's such a cool little feature. It doesn't need to be there, but it's fun. It's
fun. The original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 had like a big theater level where you could go look at all a bunch of stuff.
That's
from the
true.
campaign.
It did, didn't it? Damn.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2 was gas.
Yeah,
was a good
probably
game.
my second favorite of the COD games.
Well, I think the reason that's gone now, though, is because why would you give it away for free? Why would you lock it behind having to complete 2 playthroughs or 1 playthrough or whatever to get it if you could just charge for it?
Really? I had a different idea. I figured that it's not around anymore because stuff like that is like factored in whenever you are like ahead of schedule, and most games now aren't even done whenever they're released. They would never have time to implement something like that because they haven't even finished with the fucking game and it's already out being purchased.
I think I was talking more about costumes and stuff, like, you know, Silent Hill 3, you beat it.
Me too. I mean,
stuff.
even that.
Yeah, well, there's costumes in this, right? Like there are costumes, but
yeah,
a lot of the
so.
time
You're right,
it's a
you're right.
pre-order bonus. I think you are right with things like a trophy, a character model viewer, that stuff.
Yeah.
That's you don't have time for that. It's crunch, let's go. Kind of the state of AAA games now, no real vision or care for your story. I don't know if they don't care, and this could
They
be.
care a lot if the story fucking sucks, like Last of Us 2. They care a lot about it then.
This could be a we don't know the behind the scenes. This could be a Konami thing. This could be, hey, we got to sell pre-orders. Let them have the fucking dog head. The dog sells a lot of stuff. We sell a ton of merch with the Robbie the Rabbit head on it. Should we put that? Let's put that in the game. Pre-order bonus. Let them. Yeah. Oh, you don't want to put it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Who cares if they wear it from the beginning? I don't fucking care. It's gonna sell the game more money. What are you? More money. That's what they're saying. That's the meeting.
Yeah, we'd rather they buy it and play it than they not buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it and play it wrong than not buy it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Buy it and play it wrong rather than not play it at all. It's a good one. It's mostly because of MMOs and battle royales where you can buy whatever you want and or need. Yeah, I mean, it's just part of it's just microtransaction. Let's get money. How do we get money? And honestly, yeah, I think it could be a Konami faced thing. They do sell a lot of Robbie the Rabbit shit. It is weird to have Robbie the Rabbit in this game.
It's super weird. He didn't even exist when Silent Hill 2 came
No,
out.
he wasn't in the canon yet. Because this is Silent Hill 2, and Robbie the Rabbit was in Silent Hill 3, which is right after that.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't exist.
It's world building. Robbie the Rabbit already existed. He's
Time loop. We found a time loop in your game. Paradox.
Yeah, it's going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's going to be phantoms that keep James from suffocating Mary.
Ooh, they're going to do a Silent Hill 2 remake. Silent Hill
Part
2
2.
Rebirth. And it's going to be...
Well, there was a rebirth ending in the original Silent Hill 2.
That's true. It's going to continue that ending. We're going to get all kinds of time.
Yeah,
to
it's going to have
James.
and it's going to introduce a co-op feature where one plays as you can play as Harry and you can play as Heather, or you can play a separate campaign as James, and then they like
there we go.
coalesce.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like a co-op mini mode that's like 6 missions where it's like Harry and Heather teaming up.
Now they're back to back shooting pistols.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Wanted?
That's
Curve the
James
Bullet?
McAvoy. Parts of it. I never saw it all the way through because I thought it was stupid, but I've seen parts of it. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that movie a lot lately, and I don't know why. It is really stupid. They curve,
I don't know why either.
They curve bullets. They're in a league of assassins that can curve bullets. If they whip their hand around fast enough and shoot, the bullet goes.
Because that's how
that.
physics works.
Dude, it's kind of cool actually. I think you would like. It seems like a movie you would love. I don't know why.
I remember thinking I would like it, and then I watched some of it, and I thought that the characters sucked, and I just turned it off. I thought they were really boring.
Sloppy Joe said Wanted seems like an Evan movie if I've ever heard one.
You would think.
You would
really think.
You would
but
think.
I watched I've tried to watch it a couple of times, and that's why I've seen like chunks of it. That's got Angelina Jolie in it, right?
Yes, and
yeah, she sucks.
And who's the guy?
James McAvoy.
Yeah, James McAvoy. You said that already.
He did okay.
Chris Pratt. Young Chris Pratt.
Yeah, that's right. He is in it. And I actually like Angelina Jolie as an actress, but I thought her character in that movie just sucked.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. The beginning scene, he leaves work, or I don't think it's the beginning scene, it might be later, but he leaves work and he decides to quit and go do this assassin thing. And he hits Chris Pratt with a keyboard over the face, and it's slow-mo, his face slow-mo turns to the camera as his teeth knock out, and the keys that come off the keyboard spell "fuck you."
Yeah, see, okay, now I'm starting to remember. That's not really an Evan movie. That's like
insane is what that is.
It's like on the edge of being an Evan movie, but it's
Yeah.
too far in one direction. See, like
I
that
see what
kind of
you're
shit
saying.
is stupid. So there's another movie, not to get us off track, that seems like it would be an Evan movie, and it's not.
Okay.
And it's the Transporter. 1
Oh,
and 2.
yeah, okay. I've seen one
Yeah,
of those.
so-
I've seen the one
Okay.
where he flips there's a bomb on the bottom of his car, and he jumps off of a ramp and flips the car, and a crane hook, snatches
that's
the bomb
the-
off of the car.
Yeah, that's either the first or the second. So the third one is actually pretty cool. The third one's
Okay.
actually like a more, it's way more down to earth. It's way more grounded than the first two. And I actually really like the third one because I went back and I watched all three of them like 2 years ago. But the first, because I was like, oh, these are movies for me. Those first two movies are fucking awful, and I don't like them at all because they're too stupid.
Yeah.
It's too stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the end of the first movie is him like getting oiled up with motor oil and fighting a bunch of goons to like rap music
Why does he
In
have
motor
motor
oil.
oil on?
so that he can slip around them. He's like using the motor oil to like slide underneath them. And they would like try to grab his arm, and he like slips out of their arms because he's covered in motor oil. Really fucking stupid. It's too dumb. Like Wanted
That's
is like
crazy.
that. It crosses the line from being, oh, this is over
I'm
the top
slippery.
stupid.
You can't catch me.
Yeah.
Wow.
It can't do that. When it's like that, Evan doesn't like it anymore.
Yeah, that's wild. Didn't know Wanted was originally a comic. I think there was another movie around the time that Wanted came out that was also a graphic novel that sort of was like an action movie. They were doing action movie graphic novels at the time. That seemed to be like a thing. Watchmen. There was another one that had Chris Evans in it, and he had glasses.
Yeah,
on. He was like
yeah.
The Losers.
Yeah.
That was another one at the time. I had a question for you. I thought about
Yeah.
this week. I wrote it down. If you had to do something else, not just if you had to not do YouTube, but because I know you would just say like I'd make music or something. If you if you couldn't do anything creative, like in making creative stuff, what
So
would you do?
non-artistic.
Yes, non-artistic. Non-autistic.
Yeah, non-autistic. Gosh, there's a couple of things. So I've thought a lot to myself that if I could, I can't really say that, but I've thought a lot to myself if I could go back in time, I would probably try to learn a coding language, which I'm learning
Okay.
a coding language now, but I'm just learning a coding language in Game Maker. But like the only reason I would do that is if I wanted to pursue game development. So let's just throw that out because that's like an artistic answer.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I might pursue like are we talking about like trade work?
Yeah, I would assume so. Like, I don't know. Would you? Do you have a dream of being a Best Buy employee?
I would not want to
like
be in
owning
sales
your own
indefinitely.
business. Like,
Probably open up a gym. It's probably what I'd want to pursue.
Ooh,
I'd
that's a
want
good
to
one.
pursue
Personal trainer.
I'd want to because I used to want to do that for a while. I want
Jocko Willink.
there was a solid like year to year and a half where I was really like looking into what the logistics would be of opening up a gym and just having a gym.
A lot of upfront
Um,
cost.
Yeah, a lot of upfront cost, and it doesn't pay back, and it's not a great idea
Yeah.
Financially.
You know,
But
I had
was
a
really
business
into it.
I had a business idea recently, putt-putt golf. I want to open up a
Putt-putt
putt-putt
golf.
golf place.
Really? Why
Yeah,
is that?
I don't know.
Is that your answer to your previous question?
No, that's not my answer. But that's something feasible that I've been thinking about possibly doing. Because
That could be cool.
I think having a business is probably a good idea. But I don't know
Yeah,
about
very good
putt-putt
idea.
seems fun. I like putt-putt. Do you like putt-putt? Have you ever been putt-putting?
Yeah, that's like the mini golf courses with funny courses, right?
Sometimes they can have funny courses. Sometimes they're serious.
I don't know what the difference would be.
Well, like sometimes there's like a T-Rex and you shoot the ball into its mouth and it goes out its
Yeah.
butt and then into
Yeah.
the hole. And sometimes out one hole and into the other. But sometimes it's like an actual, like it's framed like an actual golf course. And there's no funny, wacky pirates hacking at your golf
I feel like
ball.
it'd be less interesting without all the fun stuff.
It depends. I've been to, I'll say this, I do putt-putt a lot. I've been to a lot.
Yeah,
of
I've only
putt-putt
done it a handful
courses.
of times.
I've been to just about every putt-putt course within a good radius, multiple times.
Yeah. I think putt-putt's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I like putt-putt. It's fun.
So your answer was you would open up a gym, if you had
Yeah,
any
I would
option.
I would try to open up like a powerlifting gym with probably like a fight training room or something.
Okay.
Yeah, some kind of gym.
No, my answer would not be putt-putt. I would probably become a woodworker.
Woodworker.
Yeah.
Like that could mean a couple of things. Be specific. What do you mean by woodworker?
Probably make like furniture or something.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
There's very little money in that unless you're like very, very good.
I'm assuming
be-
this is like magical scenario where
Okay, you'd be independent.
A genie, you find a bottle under a bridge in Manhattan. You've taken a trip to Times Square because you've wanted to see it your entire life. You find a magic bottle. You open it up. Genie comes out. Hey, you can't do creative work ever again, but I will let you pick whatever job you want to do.
Okay, and you would choose woodworker.
Yeah, I think woodworker would be pretty cool.
That's a good.
If I could just sit in a shop, in my shop, and I just listen to music all day and
So you're just
Rub
Mel
wood.
Gibson from The Patriot.
huh?
You ever seen The Patriot with Mel Gibson?
No, I haven't.
Really? Well, that's like his whole thing in the beginning of the movie. He like doesn't want to get involved in the Revolutionary War because he wants to do he like makes chairs and stuff. That's his like
Oh,
hobby. He likes to do woodwork, and that's like the big thing.
is that a good movie? It looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I
Okay.
mean, I watched it like 2 or 3 days after I watched Braveheart, which is probably a bad idea because Braveheart's so much better than most movies. So then I watched Patriot. I was like, that wasn't as good as Braveheart. But The Patriot's it's a pretty good film. It's worth watching for sure.
It's
great film.
kind of like the guy from The Patriot, but it's also kind of like Jesus.
Yeah.
He was a carpenter. All of the coolest guys in history have been carpenters. Mel Gibson, Jesus.
Yeah. That's true. Hey, woodworking is good. I grew up doing a lot of carpentry.
Yeah. I've never done it,
would-
really. I've done some
Oh.
slight stuff, but it seems fun.
It would not ever fucking be my dream job. I don't know what I assume probably because I had to do so much stuff like that as a kid that now I'm kind of averted to it. I'm glad I did it because now I have a lot of skills. I have plumbing skills, electrical skills, carpentry skills. I can do most any kind of carpentry because I spent my entire fucking childhood doing it because we were building the house we were living in as we were living in it.
Oh, okay. One of those.
Yeah. So, and then my dad wouldn't just do it. He would make me and my brother do it, and then he would correct us.
Damn.
And then, yeah, my grandfather was a bricklayer. So, like, I know that, like, I wouldn't ever choose woodwork.
Yeah.
I would not want to do that. I would do it like, if my girlfriend said, "Hey, I want to try to build this table," I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, I can do that," but it's not anything I want to do forever.
I would want to be one of those guys on the oil rig Have you seen those TikToks?
Yeah, dude.
with
Fuck
the
that.
thing? Dude, that always terrifies me whenever I see it, because every time I see somebody doing a job, I'm like, could I do that? Could I do that? And I know this one pays a lot of money, so if I had to, could I do it?
Thought about it.
And dude, like, there have to be so many guys getting their hands chopped off.
Even if you don't get any major injuries, doing that work puts so much wear and tear on like your joints and shit.
Yeah.
You'll have that's why one of the reasons why it pays so much.
Mhm.
There, like, if I ever had to do something like that, I would have to like live in a fantasy version of it where like I just only eat like the most flavorless foods. I become an
Ooh.
alcoholic, and I just like lean really into that like a psychotic, like masculine kind of thing where I'm
Yeah.
jerking those things all over the place.
You're tortured and you're drowning
Yeah.
in sorrows.
Yeah, I would have to go like that. For a minute there last year, I thought about, because I have a half brother who works on a barge.
Mhm.
Like, he does that for a living. I talked to him about maybe getting involved. And he said if I like applied for it, and you'd have to get a bunch of licensing done. You have to like go do a lot of stuff for it. But if you do all of that, he told me he could get me a job doing it. But
Dude, they get paid so much, right?
well, not at first, but it can become very, very lucrative. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I thought that would be an interesting question. I'm gonna write down a little interesting question of the week. That's our interesting
That's a good
question
one.
of the week segment.
Why don't we ask the chat? For those of the 34 of you watching right now, why don't you just drop like a little, less than a sentence? What would be your job of choice if a genie said, any job you want, and it will be, it'll pay your bills and you can do it without worry, but it cannot be creative. No
Yes.
artistic, no creative, no video game making, anything like that. What would it be? I'm just curious
Because
what the
you
chat says.
found the bottle underneath a bridge,
Right.
because you always wanted to go to Manhattan to see Times Square, and you took a trip there,
Right.
and you wandered into the park. I don't know, what's the park called?
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square. No, that's a venue.
It's yeah. Let
It's
me look up what that's called.
the park.
I'm looking it up now. It's taking a while to load.
It's called, I feel like I know.
Central Park.
Central Park, that's what it is. Not very familiar with New York, never been there. Always wanted to go there. We'll take a
Me
trip
either.
there. We'll
can't-
find a bottle. Won't be able to do YouTube
I can't-
anymore.
I cannot
I'll
believe
forgive
you've
him.
never been to New York with as close as you live to it.
I don't really like big cities that much.
And by the way, when I say close, I mean like within 10 hours.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I don't.
Close is relative in the United States.
Yeah, I don't really like big cities very much, to be honest. I've been to some big cities, and it's just, if I like the environment of big cities. I like the ease of use, being able to get anything you want, being able to do cool things and see stuff or whatever. But I don't like
Right.
living in them. And when it comes to like really big cities like New York City and stuff, I just don't. The interest isn't high enough to warrant like the shit that I would have to go through to even just walk around and be attacked by homeless people. Probably. I don't
Yeah.
know what goes on there. It could be anything.
What, you never thought about like going to see a Broadway play or anything?
Maybe a Broadway play. I'd probably do it to see something like that. That would be cool. But
Like Les Mis or something would be pretty
just
cool to see.
visiting, I would take a day trip in. That's about it. I'm not gonna stay there. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That's too much. Too much. Kick Rocks says package packing peanuts is what he would do. Does that mean you would be them, or you would be putting them in boxes? Whatever Black Dynamite's title would be. I haven't seen that movie in forever.
I don't know what that is.
As a kid, I wanted to be a garbage man. It was like a blaxploitation movie thing, kind of. When I grew up, I wanted to be an archaeologist. So archaeologist. I actually know a few archaeologists. They do dig sites. They find bones.
Only if I can dress like Indiana Jones and steal things from native homelands.
That's true. Now that's cool. That's what we
There you
like.
go.
Okay, so we've talked about game stuff. I'm gonna I want to shift just to regular pop culture because I saw a funny thing that I wanted to show you.
Okay.
I figure maybe with the this is a little inside baseball, but I figure with the podcast maybe we'll do we do gaming stuff, and then if we run out of gaming stuff to talk about, we can go into other stuff.
We'll shift into relative pop culture.
The outer world. So have you seen what's going on with Japan's, specifically Tokyo's, election?
No. I don't know anything about that.
Okay, so they're having an election for, I believe, the governor, right?
Okay.
And so I don't know how the Japanese political system works, but I guess they have these like billboards. Here's, I'll pull this up. They have these like billboards, right? And these Joker candidate incoming, correct, Sloppy Joe. So they have these like billboards, and you can put up any picture. Like you just have to pay a fee, I believe, and then you can be a governor candidate and put up your poster for governor on these boards. And because of this year, I don't know if this always happens or if this just started recently happening, but they've had 56 candidates report in this year, and people are putting up these posters all over the boards. Some of them are like advertises for businesses. Some of them are like nude ladies and stuff. But the one that's the craziest is a candidate who has he's the Joker. The candidate is the Joker. And the most interesting thing is that they have to put they have a law in Tokyo that you have to give candidates airtime on the TV, like on their public access.
That's the reason. I think we should have something like that here.
It is like legally required that you put.
I like that.
And this guy is doing this on TV. Here, I'll put the. Oh, there's no audio on this, but this guy is running as the Joker on TV. And
is he eligible to actually win?
I believe so. Yeah. He's an eligible candidate.
I feel like you would need to give like your actual name and stuff.
I don't. Maybe you do. Maybe he's not. Like maybe he is.
Okay, so this is him.
Yeah, this is him. This is him on national television.
Damn, I'm not Japanese, but he'd have my vote for sure.
Going crazy.
I think he'd
He's got the
a little anarchy.
He's got the Joker pants on. Those aren't Joker boots. Those aren't very Joker. I do respect the chaos of it though.
Yeah.
But that's not very
being non-Joker is the most Joker thing you could do. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Save chaos.
There he is.
That's Joker. That's Japanese Joker. Those boots are Japanese Joker.
That's true. Yeah, it's his own spin on it.
That's J-pop Joker.
Yeah.
That's the downloadable skin.
Yeah. This is the pre-order bonus.
This is actually a trailer for the new Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League downloadable content skin.
First time I hear Japan has elections of any kind. Not even sure why that is. I mean, it is interesting just to hear about this too, just to see like
they've been a democracy for a long time.
Like sort of what goes on in other countries' elections. Like I didn't know this was how Japan's elections were. Like that there were these billboards, but this is a very Japan thing to do.
Well, it gives off the same energy as. Are you familiar with Lord Buckethead?
No.
Wow, you'd love that. So in I believe it's the UK. In the UK, a candidate's been running for years, and he always runs. I forget if it's for prime minister or something, but he calls himself Lord Buckethead, and he really runs and he really does get votes and he gets airtime and he really does campaign. But he's a guy in like a all black uniform with a giant black bucket on his head. You can really type it in. It's very similar to this situation.
Oh,
it's been going on for years.
Whoa, yeah. He looks like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
This
this has been going on for a long time.
Wow. Yeah, he looks cool.
He does look cool. I can't believe he hasn't won an election yet.
Yeah. Kick Rock said, I don't know why I have a feeling he's going to win. I feel like the Joker guy could win. I feel like it's very reasonable. Yeah, here he is again. This is another picture of him. Yeah, I don't. It's so weird. It's so weird that you can do this. That you can just troll the official election. I'm trying to find. They said, I think in this article, like how much it costs to. Oh, okay. The rental for the billboard costs 25,000 yen, which is $230 per location per day.
That's okay.
So I think that's all you have to do. Of course, you probably have to fill out some paperwork and stuff, but then you get air.
Yeah, shout out! I finished a video game for
What's up, brother?
Calling out how robust the British democracy is. Yeah, I feel like Lord Buckethead was a lot funnier when it started, but now I kind of feel like it's like I could be totally wrong, but it gives off controlled op now to me.
It's kind of like what was his name? Vermin Supreme. You remember him?
Yeah.
Vermin Supreme.
Hell yeah.
He was
every country got to have a satire mockery candidate.
That's true. You do. You need them.
Gotta have it.
Even if you're the prime minister, you have to go back to your constituency and fight a small election against a man with a bin on his head. Yeah. You got to deal with the public rabble rousing, people messing with you, getting involved.
Lord Buckethead.
Because that's what the public is at the end of the day. Most people just want to fuck around. And that's what these people represent. A valid part of the populace. Jokers.
If you couldn't have that, it wouldn't be a real democracy.
That's true. That's a good point. It's very we have Joker at home. A little bit. Like Evan said, it's the Japan skin.
Yeah, the Japanese skin.
It's the DLC. It's the pre-order bonus. It's all that good stuff.
That's fun.
Okay. Hold on. I'm messing with. We're having some technical difficulties. Oh,
David Doggett.
sorry.
Jocko Willett.
I'm just filling.
Let's
air.
go.
I'm filling air.
Every one of you.
Okay, we're good. Okay, do you have anything?
To talk about?
Yeah, this week. Any interesting things that you saw on the internet?
I feel like I had something, but then I forgot about it. I don't know. It's funny because I feel like Twitter is where you get a lot of your ideas for this stuff, but Twitter is also like the worst place in the world. So I don't spend.
That's true.
I don't spend a very long time on it.
I'm suffering for the audience at home. To be honest, this election just gone, Buckethead wasn't even the big draw. Everyone really got into Mr. Baked Bean Balaclava. Is that a thing? Or are you messing with me?
I don't know.
I feel like he's trolling.
I have a friend, you've heard me talk about him, Jarf, who is in the UK, and he keeps me up to date on British politics. So most of the stuff I know from him.
No, it's a thing for sure. Mr. Baked Bean Balaclava.
Okay, well that's what we're talking about now. You gotta look that shit up ASAP.
I'm looking it up. I don't. Oh, Beans Man. This article refers to him as Beans Man. Hold on. Oh, here we go. It is hard. Give me a second because it is hard to do this search and not get Mr. Bean. I'm just getting Mr. Bean.
Yeah, you got to dial it in.
You got to refine that Google search to get Mr. Bean out of there. Mr. Bean freaks me out. I don't like him, and I really don't want to get into it because he makes me uncomfortable. Scared of Mr. Bean. Here he is. Here's Beans Man. This guy. Oh, he lost to him. This guy won.
Let's go.
Jacob
Let's
Rees-Mogg
go.
loses seat next to man wearing a baked bean balaclava.
Let's go.
Buckets beat beans any day of the week. Mr. Bean sound effects when. That's true. We got to get... Well, he I guess he has some grumbles, but he doesn't make any noise. He doesn't say anything. Yeah, I guess he has like a weird... He has kind of an Animal Crossing sound to him.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean?
Yeah. Just actually making an Animal Crossing sound effect and call it Mr. Bean.
Call it the Mr. Bean sound effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes some funny, wacky noises. What is that? Is that a British thing.
Yeah, he's British.
Mr. Bean's British. That's a British
Yeah,
thing.
he's a British actor. I don't know I don't remember what his. I used to know what his actual name is, but I've forgotten.
I watched
He's not actually like that. Obviously, that's just the
Well,
character.
yeah.
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson. That's his name. I've seen him in other stuff. Did you?
Yeah, I don't like the Mr. Bean movies either.
You don't like him?
No. I'm not
Did
a
you
fan.
come across them when you were a youth?
Young? Yeah. I saw them whenever I watched a couple of them when I was young. I
don't
didn't like them then either.
I don't think I even came across it until I was in high school or something. And then I had a sort of like a physical revulsion to it. Like, I want this to be away from me. Like, I want whatever is happening to go and get out of my life forever.
I feel like British humor comes. I don't know. This isn't really as true nowadays as it used to be, but even 10 years back and further, British humor tended to come in two forms. Very like dry, maybe even pseudo intellectual, and fucking stupid.
Yes.
Like lowbrow, stupid humor.
Yeah.
And it's always gonna be one of the two. And I like a lot of classic British comedies. I enjoy like drier British humor, but Mr. Bean is that other like lowbrow, stupid, this is bottom of the barrel humor.
It's
not bottom of the barrel. That would be like vulgar humor, but it's pretty down there.
It's funny because I remember being in high school, and the thing people still say this to this day, but people would always say British humor is like, higher level than American humor because it's more like
a lot of it
you have to
is.
think about it, but it is
a lot of it.
But
is.
then you also have this other
British
thing
humor
that's like just the opposite of that,
And I feel I actually kind of wonder if the stupid British humor is like a response to a lot of the higher brow.
direction.
Yeah, a lot of the higher brow British humor almost comes across as condescending. So I almost wonder if movies like Mr. Bean, because there's other British comedies that are like that, get made kind of like as a fuck you pretentious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Canadian. I like Canadian humor.
What's an example of Canadian humor?
Kids in the Hall.
Never see it.
Trailer Park Boys.
No, I haven't seen that either.
You haven't seen Trailer Park Boys?
No,
dude.
The only British comedy the only Canadian comedy I can think of that I've seen is, I think it's called Corner Gas. You ever heard of it?
No.
Yeah, it actually is pretty funny. Let me see if that's actually what it's called. I'm pretty sure it is what it's called. You would like it. Yeah, it's called Corner Gas. You would like it a lot, actually. I think you would really, really like that show. It's pretty. It's a comedy, but it's a little bit more intelligent than like your average comedy. It's pretty funny. No, I wouldn't go.
It's got like things like Pickle Rick.
Yeah, to be fair, you need a pretty high IQ to understand all the nuances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming. I know what you mean. Trailer Park Boys is pretty great. It is. It's fantastic. I watched it. I found it when I was in high school and watched it a ton. And then, for years, like every year, I would just rewatch it from the beginning over and over again. I haven't watched it in a while, actually. I probably should go back. Once you're past about season 3 to 4, it falls off kind of hard. Yeah, it definitely, the early stuff loses, like it is peak, and then it kind of loses its luster a little bit. I remember some of the newer seasons being not that great, but they were pretty good. It's one of those things where it loses a little bit, but it's still got that charm, so it's not that bad. I don't know. It never takes itself very seriously, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But, Corner Gas, though, I'll have to check that out.
I think you would like it.
Okay. And I have a high IQ as well, so I'll be able to understand it. I'll be able to get the jokes.
Yeah, to be fair, you'd have to have a very high IQ to understand Corner Gas. The humor is extremely subtle, and without a solid grasp of theoretical physics, most of the jokes would go over the typical viewer's head.
Ivor!
I looked up that copy pasta to say that.
I could tell because of the white
blasting on me
on your face. I could tell you were reading text.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to call it? Shorter
Yeah,
ep?
I mean, unless there's anything else to really cover, we
Um,
can talk about what we're doing in future episodes.
yeah, we could do that. Do you want to reveal guests?
We don't have to reveal guests, but we could just say that we're bringing guests back.
Yeah, we are bringing guests back. We wanted to do a couple solo eps, chill down a little bit, refine some
Yeah.
things, make it strong, make it good, make it tight. And that's what we're doing here.
Make it hard.
Make it hard. And so that's what we're doing here. We're getting loose. We're feeling things out, making upgrades. You might still see some upgrades coming because I've got a few things planned. I wanna elevate, get higher, make the show more entertaining, make it loose, make it good. And so yeah, that's what we're doing. But in the future episodes, next week we have a guest. The week after, I believe we have a guest. We have a few guests planned out, some return guests, some of your favorites, some all-stars. We're gonna do
And we
an
would
all-star
love-
run.
We would love to have you back on. I finished a video game. If you
Yes.
have some open time in your schedule coming up,
Of
if you
course.
want to come back, we'd love
We've
to
been
have you back.
we've been DMing. We're in negotiations. I finished a video game has a very high retainer that he requires to be on a show.
Yeah.
Most people don't know this about him. It's like it's up
So
there.
we have to afford it.
yeah, we got to scrape together some cash, get some funding. Might need to start like an Indiegogo or something. We've been we've
Yeah.
been toying around with that idea. We don't want to do it, but we might have to go that route. You know,
Yeah.
the talent needs to be paid
Absolutely.
at the end of the day. That's the most important.
and more than just exposure.
Yes. Sloppy Joe on TGG Plus for being such a devoted member for 22 months. Start the poll. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get guests back. We're getting a schedule lined up. We just wanted to have some time with our boys. You know.
Yeah, the classic duos, the
Yeah.
OGs.
But yeah, we'll call it a short ep this week. We'll come back next week with a guest. We'll keep it a secret for now. I want to keep it a secret. I want to tantalize.
Yeah, you'll have to wait, but there will be a guest.
I want to make them, make them sweat.
Jocko Willie!
In the tub.
Get in the tubs. You didn't hear that one. I got a bunch loaded up. I didn't even show you guys today. I got all
We
kinds of
need
stuff loaded
we
up.
need some Andy Elliott ones on there.
Yeah, we'll get some of those. We'll get some stuff loaded up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a guest next week. We'll tantalize. We'll keep you wondering. We'll keep you guessing, and we'll leave that for next week. For now, what do you got coming up? You have a video exporting, which means is it going up tonight?
For members, it'll probably be up tomorrow, but it'll
Okay.
release to the public next Friday.
Okay.
I'm moving it so whenever we're live next Friday, it should go live for the public
Okay.
to go watch it. But it'll probably be up for members tomorrow night.
What video is that?
That's retrospective on Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, also known as Sparking Neo in Japan.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And Evan has a perfect dark video that came out last
That's right.
week with, again, fantastic thumbnail.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
thumbnails. That's one of my favorite parts, actually. One of my favorite parts about any of the video making is working on the thumbnails.
Are you joking or are you being serious?
I'm serious. I love
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, so before I had the option to make multiple thumbnails, I would just sit around and wish that I had it because I wanted an excuse to make more thumbnails.
Yeah.
I love doing it for real. It's fun.
I-
It's fun for me.
I haven't done it in so long. I haven't made a thumbnail. Obviously now, I've been messing around with Photoshop more and After Effects and stuff like that, trying to get design fundamentals down and everything. And I like experimenting with that stuff. I like doing cool stuff with that. The thing with thumbnails is I would always want to do something I would tank my channel if I made my thumbnails because I would make them like really cool. I would make them like the Metal Gear posters that I
Yeah.
made, but that nobody wants to fucking click on that shit. That looks like garbage for a
Yeah.
thumbnail. You got to make stuff it's an art, you got to make stuff that's that pulls people in, that's captivating,
Yeah.
that's clickable.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, and I'm not very good at that. So I'm glad I got my boy David out there churning stuff away, just in the mines all day, making the best thumbnails you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I finished a video game says Man, I absolutely despise the thumbnail stuff. I agree. I wish there was a genuine way I could just put the title on white font on a black background and that be enough. Yeah. I feel you.
Do you do your own thumbnails, man? Because his thumbnails are fantastic.
I believe when we had him on, he said he did. I can't remember. I feel like everybody that we've had on says that they make their own thumbnails. I'm like the only one that doesn't.
No, I think at least 3 of them have said they make most of their own thumbnails and then they pay someone for some of them.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, he says he doesn't do his own. Okay.
No. I don't know. It's cool. I like looking at my channel and seeing the different thumbnails. They look like posters for the video. I love looking at that. That's one of the things
That's true.
that I love about it. I a lot of times, I'm not even kidding, I do a lot of my thumbnails like as I'm starting the scripting process.
Okay.
And then one of the things that motivates me to keep making the video is I'll go look at the thumbnail. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's fucking cool. I can't wait to see that on my channel. I really do that.
I've been doing that with the Blender stuff, with the modeling stuff. Like I already have the Metal Gear Solid 3 TV model thing done and ready to go, and I'm not even editing the video yet. I'm just getting done with the script because I'm like, ooh, it's a chance to get to do a new one. It's so fun. So like that's sort of my. It's a similar thing where it's like you're getting your creative juices out a little bit, you know. In a different application.
You said you had a new video you're working on?
Yeah, so excuse me. I've been having voice issues, dude. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna freak out.
Get some water.
I have a worst reviewed games on Steam video coming out on Sunday. A new one, a little bit of a shorter one, but fun nonetheless. And then Metal Gear Solid 3 will either be out the week after or the week after that. That one's loaded. I'm kind of deciding what I'm going to do after that. If I'm going to do, if I want to do Metal Gear Solid 4 the way I originally planned with Peace Walker included in it, or if I want to do Peace Walker as its own video. I haven't decided that yet.
Kojima said he considers Metal Gear Solid 5 to be a 3-part game: Peace Walker, Ground Zeroes, and Phantom Pain. So you might take that new. Like he said,
the thing is,
all 3 of those together make up Metal Gear Solid 5.
The issue with that is though that if I do that and continue with the chronological thing that I've been doing, Peace Walker, that video would be like Peace Walker, Revengeance, Ground Zeroes,
it's kind of
Phantom Pain. Like it would be ridiculous. It would be Peace Walker, Metal Gear Arcade, Social Ops, Revengeance, Ground Zeroes, some other games I'm not going to reveal on live. But
Revengeance is the only one that's like way out there chronologically.
Yeah, it's just, you got to think about, it's the thing we've always been talking about this whole time I've been making this thing is, how long are people going to stick around in a video where I'm saying I'm talking about Metal Gear Solid 5 and I first talk about Peace Walker, Metal Gear Arcade, Social Ops,
that is
Revengeance.
Metal Gear Solid 5 though.
I mean it is, but Peace Walker, I don't necessarily agree with Kojima on. I agree that it's all the same story, but I don't think Peace Walker in my mind is its own era. Like it has its own era.
Ground Zeroes is literally like takes place like right after though, and both the events of Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain hinge entirely on Peace Walker.
Yeah,
Ground Zeroes in particular,
for sure. But I don't think that means you have to talk about them all in the same video.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying that like Peace Walker and Ground Zeroes are more tightly connected than a lot of the other games.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying I don't think you have to. I'm not making the argument that Peace Walker and Ground Zeroes aren't connected.
So you're
doing the thing that the guy on Twitter did, where you're making up an argument in your head.
I'm making up something that you didn't say and arguing with it.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
So I think Peace Walker with 4.
I think Peace Walker. That's the original plan, but I might want Peace Walker to be its own video. I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out yet. That's what I'm toying with right now.
It's pretty lengthy.
Battling
you
in my
make it its own video.
My head, but we'll figure it out. Regardless, MGS3 will be out in a couple weeks. It'll be out soon. Probably going to do another indie games video after that as well. I already have like footage for like 5 or 6 of them that I've just been playing for fun that I've really enjoyed that I do want to talk about. So that video's sort of already in the background. Yeah, another secret project in the works. You know about the secret project.
Oh yeah.
Very early, but secret project in the works as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the secret project. You
The
guys are
secret
gonna like that
project.
one.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. But regardless, all that stuff's coming out. Go check out Evan's channel, subscribe,
Thank you.
like the stream, come back next Friday, the following Friday, 1 week from today, 7 calendar days, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be here and we will be having the time of our lives.
And you could be having the time of your life with us and our special guest.
Bye, everybody.